Let's create a portfolio of 5 weekly paying dividend ETFs that are going to pay us dividends every single day. We don't have a daily dividend ETF yet, and it doesn't seem like we're going to have them anytime soon, so we're going to do this ourselves. If you guys didn't see my last video, this is an updated version. We're going to showcase the weekly cheat sheet that I created that is free, but I'll talk about that more in just a moment. If you're interested in weekly dividends, in monthly dividends, don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe so you never miss out on all the free content. Now, before we get into it, let's roll that intro. As you can see, the last daily dividend video actually did well. It got 30,000 views 2 months ago, but we need to update it. You guys have been asking for an update in the comments, and I did update the cheat sheet, which again is free. So how this is going to work, we're going to go through, we're going to look at all of the new selections because there are new weekly payers that I think deserve a spot in this portfolio. And then we are going to showcase the total return of these 5 funds over the last couple of months. And of course, calculate that total dividend yield of this 5 ETF portfolio. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I love the idea of daily dividends. And if we can't get it from one singular ETF, we're going to have to do it ourselves. Oh, to be back on the free cheat sheet. Now, really quick, if you're interested in getting this, again, it's free, spencerinvest.com. Use my link down below if that's easier. It's going to be a pop-up. If you go to the products, you're in the wrong spot. Don't pay for anything. If you use the pop-up correctly, you're going to put your name and email and click submit. You'll download it from there. It won't come in an email. You're going to be able to download it and save it and use it immediately. So if you need help, put it in the comments. Everything is updated. I updated the yield, the payday for some that none of them changed, but I had one wrong last video for ULTY, and our number of dividends has changed, but it's going to continue to change. So remember that the day I did it last week, doing a lot of the updates, so it might already be a little bit outdated, but it still helps with the payday, the rough trailing 12 months yield. And so let's start. Let's get into the fun stuff. I love this. I love this series. I got to keep doing it. I will. It's really, really fun. And we get more and more of these ETFs, so it makes it easier. And it's cool that I'm not like having to reuse content. I don't like doing that. I don't like creators that do that. We get new content, we get new ETFs, and it's amazing. So we have MAGY. This is a Monday payer, but it's not going to be our selection this time. Whoa, I went all the way down. What we can see with MAGY, it has a decent yield. It's the MAG7 ETF by RoundHill, and they're writing covered calls on that, on the MAG7 ETF, which is solid. But it's not going to be the one for this video. We have one that is doing a little bit better, and it's ticker BLOX down here, second from the bottom. Pays on Monday. The yield being 5% is not accurate. It's roughly like a 35% yield. I shouldn't say it's not accurate. It's a trailing 12 months yield. So it's skewed if it has not paid for a full year. And a lot of companies use the trailing 12 months because there's so many of these new ETFs out there, but I usually don't buy anything that hasn't paid out for a full year because it's not really as dependable. You can't track the history. So the trailing 12 months is a good way of seeing that. If you look at these and they have a really low yield, chances are that they are either new. If they have a low yield like MMKT and a lot of dividends paid out, it's just a lower yielder. But Blocks is going to be our selection. It's a cool one. Like I said, 35% dividend yield. It's a growth ETF, not a dividend ETF. So the dividends are just extra icing on the cake, which we love. It holds a bunch of crypto ETF trusts for like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you have exposure to those, but then it also holds a lot of crypto companies. And by crypto companies, I mean companies either involved in or directly investing in crypto like Coinbase. I believe they have NVIDIA, they have Robinhood. They have so many companies in that realm that make it very interesting. And the growth performance has been absolutely amazing. If you don't believe me, let's take a look. Boom. Pretty solid. We see a 6/17 start date, probably was the first trading day, and a total return of 17.4%. Annualized, that's 80.39%, but it's still so new, you can't really depend on that, right? We've seen a really good market. We have actually seen it fall where it was a little bit higher, but has come down as the market has readjusted ever so slightly. Now, of course, those numbers are with dividends reinvested. It's actually better with dividends not reinvested, which is very interesting. But long-term, since it does have a focus on growth, the dividends being reinvested should help. It should be a significant outperformer. And I like Blocks. A lot of people are talking about it. I don't want to say influencers, content creators are talking about it because the performance has been really good. But I've been talking about it for a while, I'm happy to say. I was actually one of the first videos on Blocks, I believe, because they reached out to me. So it was really cool, really good experience. And I like this one for not only what it holds, but the idea of growth and dividends. Now for Tuesday. I know for Monday, we only had 2 options. There are quite a bit more of the Tuesday payers, which is very, very solid. There's so many choices. We have at least 16 because most of the RoundHill ETFs pay Tuesday. And I have these backed up. MSTW should be above. Doesn't make much of a difference. But let's see if there's any other Tuesday ones I should consider. Oh man, we have the Granite shares on Tuesday as well. That's a hard choice. Okay, let's see. Oh man, Granite shares or RoundHill, which one do I pick? Well, here's the thing. Because this portfolio, this is such a hard choice. I will say people are loving TSYY. The yield is absolutely nuts, and it has been, the NAV hasn't been very great, I will say. I think the last time I checked, the NAV was kind of taking a beating. I also like XBTY, but it wasn't performing as well. We've seen Bitcoin fall in price, which is definitely why. And then we have NVII. I'm going to do something interesting. I'm not going to go with Granite shares this time. I can't remember last time what I did. I think I did PLTW, and it was a very solid performer. But there is a new ETF that people are talking about a lot. And the reason I want to select it is because it is super diverse. So we're going to go with WPay. This one right here, which if you don't know is the newest one by RoundHill. It is the weekly pay ETF, meaning it holds all 15 weekly payers. Not weekly paying. Weekly pay is the term used for these 15. They're single stock leveraged 1.2x dividend ETFs that pay you a dividend, but it is just your price return over that week's period. So I'm going to go with WPay. I think it's very solid. I think it'll be amazing, to be honest, with how these have been going. Oh, but HOOW, I changed my mind. I'm going to do HOOW because it has been absolutely cooking lately, and I just want to see the performance. WPay, once we had more, maybe a couple weeks of distributions, I would go with WPay, but in the meantime, we're going to go with HOOW. I had to. And you might think that I'm cherry picking the best performers, and I am. So if you thought that, you are right. But I don't want to do WPay because I can't compare them all yet. So HOOW, we have a total return of 35.8% and an annualized gain of 167.47%. One very important thing, HOOW is doing amazing because Robinhood stock has been doing amazing. We saw a drop in Robinhood, which we've seen a little one. We would see a crazy drop in HOOW because it's leveraged. So remember that. Just because I'm choosing this one today doesn't mean long-term it's the best option. It's just been absolutely destroying the others lately. I think it is the best performing weekly pay ETF, especially since inception. PLTW had that where it was up 80%, but we've seen it fall back down to like 30% positive in my portfolio specifically because PLTR took a little bit of a dive. So HOOW, will it continue on this trend? I have no idea. Do not ask me if I think it's going to go up or down. I don't have a clue. Do I own HOOW? I do. So I hope it goes up. But again, I'm just some guy that talks to myself in a room in my house. Tuesday is done. We are going to Wednesday. Starting off, we have week, and it's week, W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K, even though the comments I get call it week with the E-A-K, because it yields 4% annually. Solid, but not what we're really looking for this portfolio. Let's slide down. We have some big names that we have to discuss. Primarily, here they are. The Rex Shares weekly pairs. Now, these are our best options for the Wednesday, I will say. We have COII, MSII, NVII, and TSII. And I'm going to cherry pick again. I'm going to go NVII. Not only because I think it is the best performer, but because we've seen COII fall off recently. MSII, or the MSTR fund, has not done what I was hoping. And Tesla stock seems to be all over the place. So all in all, because it is half leverage, half options, premium income, you have to have a good overall growth as well as some juicy premium. But I think the growth factor is pushing NVII to the top. So let's take a look. I do have to say, if you find any mistakes in the cheat sheet, let me know and I'll update it. I'd like to say that there are no mistakes, but knowing that I did it, it's likely there's a mistake or two. Like last time I messed up the day ULTY pays, and I was like, oh my gosh, do I take the video down? Do I leave it up? I left it up, as you guys know. NVII. Total return 33.8% and an annualized gain of 124.63%. We have seen it pull back. A lot of the market has been slightly pulling back, but it's still on an absolutely crazy run. And being up 33, almost 34% since late May, early June is pretty nuts. I think this is the best Rex weekly pair. It outperforms almost all of the other weekly pairs, including NVDW, which I thought was very, very interesting, but they were very close. It kind of goes back and forth depending on the day's performance, and the option premiums is really what sets them apart, because NVDW has more leverage, so it needs NVIDIA to go up. NVII needs it to go up because it's half a leverage, but it also needs it to have a lot of alpha or implied volatility to get the juicier premiums, if that makes sense. I like them both. They've both been doing absolutely amazing, but we're going to go with NVII. I also already have some NVDW if I do go with WPay, which I didn't. I went with HOOW. Don't get mad at me. But if I was to go with WPay, that also would hold NVDW, so I don't want to overlap double, even though I'm overlapping a lot with NVIDIA, but I'm long on NVIDIA, so I'm okay with it. Thursday is an interesting one. So we have two RoundHills that pay Thursday. We have YBTC and YETH. But let's look at what else we have before we decide on those two. Dun, 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 dun. I should do my own background music. I keep thinking like maybe I should add background music. Do you guys think I should? Would it help with the ambiance of the video? Or should you just keep listening to me breathing heavily when I'm trying to decide? Thursday, MST pays Thursday. Now, those are our main Thursday pairs. Now, my problem with MST has nothing to do with Defiance. It's like I think it's a 2x leverage, 1.5 or a 2x leverage on MSTR, and MSTR just has not been doing good. It's down like 31% in the last 3 or 4 months. I put it on my X account yesterday because I was like, what is going on? Because Bitcoin has not fallen by that much. And because it holds so much Bitcoin, the price is correlated. So I don't know how MSTR is falling, but Bitcoin is staying relatively consistent. So I'm not going to go with MST. I do like a lot of the Defiance ETFs. The weekly pairs, WDTE is my favorite, but MST has been underperforming because of MSTR. So we're going back up to the top, and now we have a hard decision to make, which is YBTC or YETH. Now the bummer with this is I already have exposure to both Bitcoin and Ethereum with blocks. So I'm really going to be heavily invested in one or the other. So which do I think will perform better? You guys know I'm not a crypto investor, so it's really just a 50-50 guess. I will say though, YETH, should I say YETH or YETH? YETH just sounds like I'm trying to say yes. YETH, I can't do it. YETH, I'm going to go with YETH. I'm going to go with the Thursday pair. I apologize. The reasoning is I'm double picking and choosing. Since YETH went to weekly, it's performed better. There's no strategy change, but Ethereum has gone on a crazy run. So if I back out and I zoom out even more, it has not been good. So we can see, look, let me zoom all the way back out. Long term, it would even be in the red. But since going to weekly, we've seen a crazy shift. It was really green at one point, then it went into the red. But the minute you jump forward and you go to like May of this year, and you start tracking, it gets super, super green. And with dividends reinvested on a weekly basis, boom, there you go. So it's been absolutely doing amazing. So I would say I'm going to choose YETH for this one. YBTC is another amazing option. They're both really, really solid, and I can't complain. YETH is going in the account because of its hype, its momentum. The movement of Ethereum, I think, might outperform Bitcoin for a little bit as Bitcoin staggers, but long-term, YBTC is probably the better option. Say what you will. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know if you hold YETH or YBTC, and let me know why, but we still have to pick our Friday pair. The thing with the Friday pairs is there's a lot of them. So let's talk about it. We have QDTE, XDTE, RDTE, 3 solid options. QDTE has been doing really well lately. Of course it has because I sold it a little while ago, so it automatically takes off. Because you guys know I have that gift. If I sell something, double digits the next month or so. Then we have the Defiance ETFs, IWMY, QQQY, WDTE. I would choose WDTE, but it isn't one of the top performers. YMAG has been doing amazing. It has been doing really, really well, but I'm not going to pick it. ULTY. This is why Friday is so difficult, because we have ULTY, LFGY, GPTY, and CHPY. Now, in my brain, we also have the 0 DTEs from YieldMax. Any other Friday pairs? USOY, GLDY, MMKT with its 3.5% yield. An option. We'll go back to that. We won't. Oh man, I want to go with CHPY, but I'm going to go with ULTY. We have seen a pullback, but it has still been doing well. The yield has been steady, although the price, the NAV, is getting a little bit scary. So I might be taking more of a risk with ULTY, but you guys know I like this fund a lot. I've made a lot of content on it, and I am still holding it currently. So if you prefer SLTY, maybe during this little rocky market, SLTY will be better. But ULTY still has a lot of things going for it. It's still very, very cheap. It is still it is the largest weekly payer at over $3 billion AUM. People are still believing in it, still holding on to it. And of course, I'm one of those people. CHPY is another great option. It did have a little better price hold up than ULTY with this last drop. I made a full video on the YieldMax ETFs and the ones that are holding up the best for those interested. But I have to stay true. I have to use ULTY. So now we're going to put ULTY in a drip calculator, and then we'll go through all of our picks and see what the best performers are and get that total, oh my gosh, total account yield. The total return for ULTY is still very, very solid. We can see 13.28%, an average annual total return of 8.60%, but this is factoring in before the switch, before the change. So we're going to go to March 10, that's the rough period of when it changed, of 2025, and boom. Here's what we're really looking at. It's up 31.4%. And I've seen people bashing ULTY. I understand it. Everything gets bashed in a pullback. But it's still amazing that it's done this, you know? So I can't complain. My position is in the green. Both of my positions, actually, both for YouTube and in my Roth IRA, are in the green. So I'm happy. That's why ULTY is going in the account. People might disagree. Let me know, of course. Let me know if you'd pick ULTY or SLTY. My only thing with SLTY is it's like $50, which is very, very expensive. And because ULTY switched and didn't do a reverse split, it's going to stay in this cheap range. I don't know if SLTY is going to fall. It already is using the options that ULTY is using, so it shouldn't have the same fall. If it follows the same pattern as ULTY before it was weekly and before that strategy change, very interesting. But if you are interested, I'll link the video at the end of this one. I did a full interview with the YieldMax CIO and the chief strategist. It was amazing. It was really fun. We had a good conversation. So I'll link that at the end. But first, we have to see our performance for our 5 weekly payers that are going to get us daily dividends. Using Seeking Alpha's comparison tool, we have our 5 finalists. We have Blocks, HOOW, NVII, YETH, and ULTY. We can see the expense ratios are pretty similar, with ULTY being the highest and YETH being the lowest. Woo woo, let's go. I love paying less, but the rest are all around that 1% range. Now what we're looking at is price return. So Blocks is up almost 10%. HOOW is up 11.6%. NVII is up almost 17%. YETH is down 41%, and ULTY is down 48% on the year. Again, there's different times that make more sense for these, like ULTY, where it's going to be hard to compare it to before the strategy change, but we will. So total return changes everything though. Out of all of these, it's impressive. So we see Blocks is up 17.41%, including the dividends. HOOW is up 33.83%, including the dividends. NVII 29.2%, including the dividends. All of these are including the dividends. YETH up 14% and ULTY up 31.37%, which is pretty amazing. I will say that YETH went from being down 17% to positive 14%. So it was quite the climb into the positive for YETH. I'm very happy with this one. I think long-term, if you love Ethereum, there you go. But here we have it. We have a portfolio that is going to pay us every single day. Blocks on Monday, HOOW on Tuesday, NVII on Wednesday. These 3 are very, very solid. I like how the performance has been. If you don't like HOOW, you can choose any of the other weekly pay ETFs. I would probably go with WPay since it's a combination of all of them. NVII has been solid. NVIDIA is just, it's a good company. You know, I don't want to be one of those stock picking gurus after it's gone up like 4,000%, but I would say NVIDIA is pretty good. Then we have YETH up 14% if you're long on Ethereum. There you go. I also don't know if there's there's no more weekly payers that are on Ethereum, but I'm sure there's some monthly payers. But I think if Ethereum goes on a crazy run, it will grow in popularity. And ULTY, the strategy change has been great. Yes, there's been a pullback. It's a little bit scary, but that's the way that it goes. I also want to point out HOOW is ending as one of the most profitable, up 33.83%. But at the peak, it was up 56%, which is pretty outstanding. During this downtrend, we actually see most of them dropping. YETH went up another 2%. Blocks went down. ULTY stayed kind of the same. and NVII did drop about 8%. So important things to know with all of those. I ran the numbers. It took quite a bit of math, and our total dividend yield for the portfolio, 66.2%. Now, the winner for yield is HOOW, returning like 108% if it continued on the current trend, which it probably won't. Again, the yield on those can be so variable depending on the underlying performance. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It's an absolute blast. It's crazy that we are able to get dividends every single day. If you want the free cheat sheet or to check out some of my paid spreadsheets that I use to track weekly dividend ETFs, check that link out down below. I really hope you guys enjoy, and thank you so much for all the support. If you like this video, check these out on your screen right now, including that YieldMax interview that I think you'll find some very, very interesting stuff in. Thank you guys so much. I hope to see you in the next video.